Now, on to having said maybe tackled about the political party amendment bill. Now let's move to things we do with the political system, that now where we have the devolution part, the devolution part, and which now we are going to tackle about powers, because I understand that devolution is more of delegation of power, more especially from maybe like delegation of power to the lower levels, and more especially from the government official. Now we are taking it now to the local regionals and the small kind of leadership here and there. So what's your take? Do you think that Kenya has been, or maybe has it reached to that point of the delegation of power, it is set at the right maybe shoot?
Okay, just as we discussed earlier about the three arms of government, where we have the executive, we have the judiciary, and we have the legislation. On the legislation, you'll find legislation, we have the National Assembly, we have the Senate, and then we have the assemblies, the county assemblies. So that's the devolution structure in government. Then we come to the judiciary, where we have the Chief Justice, where she sits in the Supreme Court, and then we have the Court of Appeal, then we have the High Court, then we have the other courts, and which are now spread around the counties. So we even have judges in every county, and so that's how it spreads down in terms of judiciary up to the magistrate level. And then now you come to places like now you come to the next one, which is the executive. In the executive we have the presidency, where we have the president with his deputy, with his cabinet ministers, and then thereafter we have those are the cabinet itself. Then we have the devolution system. The devolution system, which falls under the executive, mainly because governors are executive. So we have the governors who are elected in the 47 counties, and then the governors themselves have their deputies, and then they have their own cabinet again, and then they have the assembly to control the works of the county. In that kind of structure, it was very well thought through, because in the old structure, in the former pre-2010 constitution, we had a structure of government that was government the up-down. You find we had the presidency with his cabinet, then we had the PCs, the DCs, the DOs, and all that structure of administration. And most of the development programs were actually brought up through the DCC, district committees, where the district committee would go to the village with the chiefs, get to know what do they want here. They want a borehole, and take it up and be able at that level for government to be able to allocate money. But the constitution has now been very clear that there's an allocation of 35% of the total amount of government that will has to go to the counties. So that goes to devolution, and I think the BBI was trying to push it to 55%. Now what it says is that the government, national government, is left with 65% to run the government, the top government activities and functions. But the 35% now goes to the counties. When it goes to the counties, it is divided according to the number of people. That's why there's been a fight about one man, one vote, 1 shilling. Now that's the way the ratio of how money was distributed was actually in terms of population and also in terms of size. And now that is where they came up with a formula of how much money would go to Turkana vis-a-vis how much would go to Kiambu. But now with time they have realized some counties which have more people, for instance, Kiambu has a bigger population, gets more money than Turkana, which is more large and vast, and that's why they are saying let us balance this thing, because we go for one man, one vote, 1 shilling. It means people with high populations will get more money. People with low population get less money. Now the problem comes that the devolution development programs of the government then becomes strained, because then some roads will not reach Turkana because they're not able to do more things. So the development is not equal. So that is one thing that they've been trying to see through the BBI, whether we can rationalize in terms of the distribution of money to the counties. But said that, I think it goes back to what I said about the MPs. When we started the devolution 2013, people didn't understand why were we electing governors, why were we electing senators, why were we electing MPs, because those roles were not clear. And as I told you, Kura Yetu has an opportunity to be able to educate people on the different positions that are going to be elected. And in those positions, who do you look for? Are you looking for a manager? Are you looking for a lawmaker? Are you looking for a demonstrator? So those kind of things make you understand what kind of person you're looking for, what position. So in 2013, people all ran to the Senate thinking it was going to be the most powerful assembly. So people went to the Senate. So very senior people in government moved to Senate. So our senior politicians in 2013 went to the Senate, only for them to discover that the governor had power and had money which he was controlling. In the minimum, each governor was controlling 4 billion a year. 4 billion a year in 5 years, the governor has 20 billion.
Yeah.
Initially, before systems were put in place, the first year of the governor's positions, when they entered parliament, when they entered into the counties, they were doing a lot of infrastructure, put up buildings, put structures in terms of schooling, put structures. So they were putting government structures. So there was a lot of money going into infrastructure development. In that time, a lot of governors had no plan of what they were going to do for the counties. So this money came. It was being monitored by the TA, which was the Transitional Authority. The Transitional Authority slowly got out, and some IFMIS came in, and IFMIS now took control of all the counties. So all the systems of payment had to go through counties. In that kind of system, before the Transition Authority gave over their powers to the counties, and before IFMIS took over the scrutiny of expenditure, a lot of governors took advantage of that time, and a lot of money went into corruption. And that's why you find when they list the number of corrupt governors we have, they're almost like half of the ones who are in the first term. Why? Because the money, there was no plan of how to control the money. So after IFMIS, they were able now to be able to monitor who's misappropriating funds. But the first 1 year or 2 years, a lot of money just got wasted. That's why you find a lot of governors' cases are for 2013, 2014. And their cases are about procurement processes. Like for instance, there are some governors who are accused of buying second-hand cars, others were accused of building buildings that are not approved. So slowly devolution has started taking its feet. And in that, many counties have done strategic plans. And their strategic plans range from 5 years to 10 years. So the next governors came in 2017. Unfortunately, a lot of governors who came in 2017 didn't go into government to implement the county's strategic plan. They went into government to eat the way they saw their colleagues were eating in 2013. So a lot of governors of the second term went there also with the same hunger of I saw so-and-so who was just an MP, today he's a billionaire, even me I want to become a governor. So the second governors also came in, and now they came in with a wastefulness, where they came in and they started their new projects. So all projects, or most projects of the first governors were left out. So that was waste of public funds, where you have built a building halfway, and because as a new governor you don't want to complete it because it's so-and-so's, you start your own other projects. And that's why they were able to buy even helicopters. A lot of governors were able to buy helicopters for themselves, and they move around with very expensive ways and means. However, when the new governors came, I think the citizens, and that's why I hope devolution can actually work in the counties, because the public participation should become a key thing in counties. That even if you come in as my new governor, I have left as the former governor, my things that were accepted by the same public participation should be continued by you. Until you finish them, then you can start your own. And the next person who comes after you finishes your project. That's how devolution development will go on. But we have that thing of the first two governors fighting about whose project was what. Now we are going into a third governors. The third governors is where we need as a country to choose serious people who will not only come up with their own new projects, but finish the projects of the first governor, because that was money spent for the county. The second governor's projects, and if anything, start his own. And this is why I'm saying, when it comes to corruption, if I were in power today, or if I got power to sit in a place of power to be able to dictate what to do with these governors, I would say the first governors need to be jailed. Because of what they did. That was misappropriation of funds. Whether you knew how it was being used or not known, I think you went there knowing you are going to take care of public coffers. The second governors need also to be jailed equally more than the first, because they knew why they were going there. They were going there to steal like their colleagues who had stolen. The third governors, if any of them steal going forward, they need to be hanged. Because this tells you it is a culture we are developing of people going into government, going into the counties
like
to steal something. To steal money from the public. So for me, that's what I think. Devolution can work and has to work, but we need more public participation, more public control, more public scrutiny to projects. Because when you travel around the counties, you're very shocked. You find a building, like I was in one of the counties, the former governor built a very big hospital, but there's no windows, and you ask why? Because the new governor said this was the former governor's project. So what am I asking? Whose money is that? That's the Mwananchi's money stuck there and vandalized. Doors have been removed, things have been messed. So what are we doing? So devolution may not work as we thought it would work if the will of devolution is all subject to the person in office.